The mysterious sound in the forest. In mid-October of 2017, near a remote forested area about 50 kilometers north of Ontario, Raymond, a maintenance supervisor, wanted to spend a peaceful morning hunting grouse with his wife and grandson. He had no idea he'd leave that day with a strange recording that still baffles him to this day. On October 14, 2017, around midday in northwestern Ontario, an experienced hunter named Raymond Carter was doing what he'd done hundreds of times before, heading deep into the wilderness to hunt grouse with his family. Raymond knew these woods like the back of his hand. After all, he had been hunting in this same area for over 30 years, and now, he was passing down all the tips and tricks he had learned to his grandson. This particular hunting spot was incredibly remote, over 50 kilometers away from the nearest city. That morning, as Raymond, his wife, and grandson moved slowly through the dense forest, everything seemed perfectly normal. The three of them spread out about 20 yards apart, carefully combing through the underbrush, their eyes scanning for any sign of movement that might mean a grouse was nearby. The crisp October air was cool and refreshing, and it was shaping up to be a perfect day to be outdoors, something Raymond had done for decades. He had his shotgun ready, and as they moved deeper into the forest, he was teaching his grandson how to spot the subtle movements of a bird hidden in the brush. But then something happened. Raymond froze. He heard a sound unlike anything he'd ever heard in his decades of hunting. The sound was distant, strange, and chilling. His wife and grandson stopped too. The three of them stood completely still, straining their ears, trying to make sense of what they were hearing, and then it happened again, but this time it was closer. Raymond immediately reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. Whatever was making that sound, he knew he had to record it. People needed to hear this. The noise grew louder, and every time it echoed through the trees, it sent shivers down their spines. It wasn't a wolf's howl, it wasn't a bear's growl, and it definitely wasn't the bugle of an elk. This sound was different, and no matter how hard he tried, Raymond Carter couldn't place it. In mid-October of 2017, near a remote forested area about 50 kilometers north of Ontario, Raymond, a maintenance supervisor, wanted to spend a peaceful morning hunting grouse with his wife and grandson. He had no idea he'd leave that day with a chilling recording that remains unexplained. Raymond was no stranger to the wilderness. He had spent over 30 years hunting in the dense northern forests of Ontario. That day, everything seemed normal as Raymond, his wife, and his grandson spread out about 20 yards apart, quietly moving through the underbrush, scanning for signs of grouse. The cool, crisp air and the familiar